everybody, welcome to the video. My name is Maze and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of Stanley's number 62 low angle jack plane. So those of you who follow my channel will know that I just built a low angle jack plane, a Japanese Krenov style one. I'll link that video in the description. And I had no plans on buying one, but it went on sale at Walmart and I had a gift card, so it was just too good of a deal to pass up, and I was curious to see how well mine stacked up against the industry standard. So some of the features of this plane, as you can see, are the base and fraw cast as one for stability, which for any modern made plane should just be the way that they do it. An adjustable mouth to reduce tear out. Now this is one of my favorite features. It's what it has. The edge on my wooden plane that I made is the ability to adjust its mouth, and so that's really nice. The ductile iron base, an 1/8 inch thick blade. I like me some thick blades on my plane, so I really like that one. It's made of A2 steel, which is a nice tool steel. It's harder to sharpen in the sense that it takes longer to sharpen, but then it stays sharp longer, so I like A2. I think it's a good tool steel. And then premium hardwood handles. They're just hardwood. There's nothing premium about the wood. I believe it's cherry. They look nice, but they're just plain old hardwood. So here we go. That beautiful moment when you break the tape on the tool you've been waiting for. I got free next day delivery, so the anticipation didn't kill me like it normally does, but it's always exciting to open up your new tool. Here it is right out of the box. It comes pretty much ready to go. There's the adjustable mouth. Really easy to adjust. I really like that feature. The lever cap is kind of it's kind of plasticky. And you got the North style adjuster. Comes with some oil or something on the blade. Just wipe that off. So you can see the blade. It's not really polished very well. You can see the grinding marks, but that's how it comes. And then you can see the A2 steel, a 25-degree bevel. Not sure what the 12-142 means. Probably has to do with the carbon iron ratio, but I'm not 100% sure. Now the Norse style adjuster is, I think, really easy to use and convenient. It doesn't have much of the lateral adjustment, but it doesn't really need it. I always want it to be a square anyway, so it's more than enough to get it square. Here I am checking the bottom, and as you can see, it's pretty flat. It's not 100% flat. The paper does go through a few times, especially right around the mouth, but it's pretty decent. Of all the planes I've bought, it came pretty much the flattest I've ever gotten one. And I never ended up flattening it because, as you'll see later, I was able to get great shavings with it the way it was, and checked it for square. It was perfectly square. So here we are. This is right out of the box, 5 or 10 minutes after breaking the tape. And it's working. It's a little bit taking too thick of a shaving, but it's able to work right out of the box, and I'm going to be adjusting it. It did well right out of the box, better than any plane I've ever bought right out of the box. I am sorry about the light. The sun, I guess, hit the exact wrong spot after I'd set up the camera, and you can't reshoot the very first, cut with your new plane, so you're just gonna have to forgive me for the bad glare. But after just a little bit of adjustment, it's starting to cut really, really nice and smooth. Yeah, the shavings are still on the thick side. The adjusting takes just very little getting used to. It's very easy to adjust this. That is one of the things that it has, that it does better than the plane I made. The adjusting on it is just super simple, super quick, and get it really like the exact way you want it within a couple minutes, where with the one I built, because you're using the hammer, it's harder to get square, and it's harder to dial it in, and this one is just super simple. So I feel like my plane gets just as good as shavings after I've dialed it in. It just is harder to get dialed in, so they both get the job done, but this one gets it done a lot easier. And so this was pretty much the thinnest shavings I was able to get right out of the box. And this is decent. I mean, you could kind of see through them. They're kind of on the wispy side. It is pine, so it is kind of knotty. And then I went to some ash, which is the hardest hardwood I had on hand, and it had some trouble at first. I was again got too aggressive in the beginning, but it was able to, with just a little bit of adjustment, cut ash pretty well too. So all in all, not bad right out of the box. And then I moved over to some mahogany, and it had really no problem with the mahogany. It cut through it like butter, and it was, a nice shiny finish after you're done cutting it. It is an open grain wood, so you could see the grain in the shavings, so you're taking finer shavings than the pore of the grain of the wood, which is nice. I was really impressed with it right out of the box. So then I went to sharpening it. I just used the sandpaper and glass sharpening technique, try to get it sharp and see how much better it could be with just that easy adjustment. Now, it did take longer to sharpen than a lot of my tools. You can see there I'm using a ruler to give myself a little bit of a back bevel. You can see how it's polished. It looks a little hollow ground. I just sharpened the very edge. That's the only part you need to have polished. So when you're doing it with sandpaper, the sandpaper doesn't last very long. So you just stop when you've done it as much as it needs to get done, as opposed to getting the whole back end shiny, which is what I would do if I had diamond plates or whetstones, just because it looks nice, right? It looks beautiful. But with the sandpaper technique, if you're a beginner and you're just using the sandpaper, just go until the edge is shiny. And then there's the strop, and then here's the front side. It looks a little hollow ground. Also, again, just sharpen it enough so the edge is polished. And every time you buy a plane, you should expect to have to sharpen the blade. And here's the first shavings with the sharpened blade, and this is pretty much as thick of a shaving as I took the first time with it right out of the box. And so you can see it's just, even though it's an aggressive cut, it's cutting a lot better. One thing about this, the North style adjusters, is you have to kind of stop and take your hand off the tool to adjust it. The Bailey style planes, if you're used to your tool and you're really good with it, you could adjust the depth, pretty much in between cuts, like in one fluid motion. This one, that's not really possible. You have to take your hands off the tool and adjust it. I don't think it's a big deal, but it is a difference. You could see on the piece of wood that I'm using that I'm going with the grain. There's like that knot right in the middle. I'm going with the grain in front of that knot and against it, behind it. When I was taking the bigger cuts, it was tearing out behind the knot a little bit, but then when I started to get the finer cuts, it was just glass. There was no tear out whatsoever. So at this point, I'm just having fun with it. If I was planning for work or for a project, it's already straight and flat and square. This is pretty much overkill at this point, but that's when you have a good tools, when you just don't want to stop. You kind of cut more than you need to because it's just so much fun. So here I just set out to see what the thinnest shaving I can get was. It wasn't a full length shaving because the knot, it kept breaking right around the knot, but I set out to kind of see what was the thinnest I could get it. And so I got my digital calipers out to measure it. So I could kind of fast forward it, but I'm hoping you guys are just antsy with anticipation of knowing how thin this is. You could see right through it, and it is super thin, but just gotta wait for it. And bam, 5/10,000ths of an inch. This happens to be the smallest my digital calipers will go. It just goes to 0 from there. So that's kind of why I didn't flatten the sole, because I can't foresee me ever needing to take a finer shaving than that. Now, technically, that wasn't a full width shaving, so I wanted to see how thin I could actually get a full width shaving, and the knot was kind of giving me trouble, and I think I had to make it thicker than it needed to be if I would have got a better piece of wood. So I wanted to see how thin I could get a full width shaving, and it is 3/1000ths of an inch, which I think is pretty high standard. If I could make all my measurements within the 3/1000ths of an inch, I'd be pretty happy with that. So then I wanted to see how it would handle the ash, if it was that much better. And you can see I'm going against the grain, and it's just smooth. With the ash, it's an open grain wood as well, so the pores of the grain were deeper than the thickness of the shaving, so you could kind of see the grain in the shavings. but there was no tear out cutting that thin of a piece against the grain. And so then here I am just going with the grain. It was shinier and smoother when I went with the grain, but there was no tear out when I went against the grain. So it had done so well with the ash, I didn't end up doing the mahogany. But final verdict was I was impressed. 5 stars. It did well right out of the box. All you needed to do was sharpen it up, and it's performed to expectations. So if you're in the market for a low angle jack plane, this is definitely worth buying. I wouldn't spend the full retail price, which was at the Walmart where I bought mine. It was $139. I've seen it for as much as $160. I got it on sale for $100, and for $100, if you find it on sale for $100, pick it up. It is definitely worth the buy. I wouldn't spend more than $120 on it, and knowing that it goes on sale for $100, just wait and keep an eye out and pick it up when it does go on sale. I would say it works just as good as mine, or mine works just as good as this one. It's just this one is way easier to adjust, and had I known it would go on sale, I probably wouldn't have built mine. So if there's a tool that you really want and it's too expensive, build your own, and then the one you want will go on sale and you could buy it. Of course, that could just be my luck, so no promises. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. If you're in the market for one of these and this review helped, give me a thumbs up, please, and subscribe if you're new. And I appreciate you watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.